Greetings, metaphysicians. In today's episode, what came through is all about alignment. When something is coming up for you personally, physically, mentally, emotionally, or what is coming up on the planet, it usually is trying to show us something. So stay tuned and listen in to episode 101. The truth is surfacing.
You're listening to Let's Get Metaphysical. This podcast explores the spiritual and metaphysical world through the experiences and opinions of the host and those interviewed. It should not necessarily be seen as direct endorsement or personal advice to our listeners. We encourage you to use your own discernment, judgment, and intuition regarding anything you learn from this show.
Let's get meta.
Welcome to the Let's Get Metaphysical podcast. I'm your host, Renata Maniaci, here to remind you that you are a temporary visitor here on lovely planet Earth, and however temporary it is really up to you. Maybe you are just passing through here for a lifetime or two, and maybe it takes you a bit longer to learn the Earth lessons you need to learn before moving on to the next planet with a higher level of consciousness. Either way, best enjoy it while you're here. This is Season 7, Heaven on Earth, and this is episode 101, The Truth is Surfacing. I was very curious to see what was going to come through today in light of everything happening around us. There have been so many things happening lately. I think that let's just hop into the episode. Are you ready? Let's get meta. Masters and angels, I request your presence, your guidance, your support. Please help me to be a channel for your peace, your truth, your divinity, and to communicate whatever it is that needs to come through today. Please allow this episode to reach whoever needs to hear it. And Masters and angels, please allow everyone who hears this episode to be enlightened. Please eliminate anything causing negativity in our listeners, in all timelines, lifetimes, and dimensions. Please allow all of us to feel more inspired, more hopeful, and more informed of divine truth at the end of this episode. Thank you with gratitude and full faith. Bless creation. Releasing all fear is a target right now. Many things are coming up around the world. Many things are being revealed. It is hard to avoid. Even the most staunch sources of disinformation are being forced to give inklings of the truth of what is going on right now. And we get to release all fear. I've heard this planet described as one of the lowest vibration or worst places to live in the universe. I don't know if that's true or not, but we certainly see that all of our stuff, any corruption, any negativity, any pain, any misguidance is all coming to the surface now. And we can see it. And this planet isn't able to transform until we see it all. This happens in our bodies as well at times. We go through our life, we make choices, we have relationships, we work, and sometimes we have experiences or make choices that aren't in alignment with ourselves, aren't in alignment with our divine path. And those can turn into aches and pains and start to come out on the surface, so to speak, of our bodies. Neck pain, back pain, digestive issues, even skin issues, eczema, boils, hair loss. Any physical issue or mental or emotional issue is often just a physical representation of a deeper misalignment. And that's what we're seeing right now on the planet. All of the misalignments all of the negative choices that are not aligned with divinity are coming to the surface, and we're seeing them play out physically with our eyes because they need to. All this stuff was always there, and maybe your back pain was always there. But you can get to the root of what actually caused that. Was it something in this lifetime? Was it something in a different lifetime? What is the root of that? And why is it coming to the surface as back pain or arthritis or a disease or illness or depression? If we are not feeling perfect, in perfect bliss and perfect health, as we should be, then something is misaligned and it needs to be corrected. Same with our planet. The planet, the Earth, is a living being just like we are. You know, there are other planets, millions of other planets, maybe billions of other planets that are different than this, where it is so far out of the ordinary to feel any kind of pain, to feel any kind of illness or dis-ease, or have any kind of altercation with another being. And that is reflected in the society that they create, the societies and the cultures that permeate other planets, the technologies, the education systems, the arts, the media, if they have those things. Maybe they don't. But we are so used to this because this is all we remember. This is all we know. We know that this is the planet where we go through the veil. We forget about Source. We forget about the Creator. We forget about God. We forget about the entire order of the multiverse. We forget that there are billions of other places to be, because that is the plight of this planet and maybe a few others in our little subsection of this universe. Why are we like that? I don't know for sure, but I've been thinking more and more lately about that epic story that we hear in so many different cultures, just shifted in various different little ways of that fall from grace, that epic angelic rebellion, that fight or revolt or rebellion, whatever word you want to use, between Lucifer and several other angels who followed that being against God. I don't know if that's true or not, but when I sink into it, it kind of makes sense, because I know there are other places, many other places in the universe and the multiverses that are not like this. And why are we like that? Why do we have a veil that we forget all of our lives before, that we forget that we're supposed to be in bliss, that we forget that we're supposed to live without disease, without illness, without cancer, without fear? Are we paying something back? Is this a punishment? Is this planet a punishment? Everything in my soul tells me that we are going to get through this and to end up a higher level of consciousness planet than when we started. But I don't know why Earth was placed in that situation in the first place. And maybe that story is it. Maybe a group of creator beings got together and thought that they were better than the Source, better than God. Or maybe there's a whole other nuance there that we have no idea about, and that's just how the story came down. And this planet, and maybe a few others around, are in this quarantine, are in this purgatory, are in this cordoned off section of the universe, so that what is happening here doesn't affect the other balanced and aligned high consciousness planets in the rest of the universe. until we break through these negativities, these lower levels of consciousness, this violence, these lies, this mistrust, this fear, and all the other lower emotions and crap swirling around on this planet. But since we're all connected, we are still affecting the others, which is probably why it's no longer allowed to continue in this way. And this goes back to everything that's coming up on the surface right now. And I want to draw this connection again because everything is connected. The aches and pains and feelings that you have in your physical, mental, emotional body, when you can feel them, when you can notice that there's something that is uncomfortable or painful or disrupting you, something is not aligned. Similarly, in the world, when we look out and see anything but peace, anything but happiness, anything but bliss, anything but perfect health, anything but perfect truth, anything but honest communication, because that is how it is meant to be. It's how we're meant to evolve. Then something is not aligned. And in our case, many things are not aligned. We created insane systems that only benefit a few. And I'm not saying that everything started out like that. There are more good, honest beings on this planet than there are negative, lying ones. But the ones that sow the negativity and the fear and the pain and the lies have been in power for a very, very long time. And those structures are being overturned as we live and breathe right now. Some of the things that we are seeing are so insanely ridiculous that they have to wake you up. Whatever you're thinking of right now is one of those things. It doesn't make sense for me to go into specific examples because you know what they are. And I don't need to cause any kind of division by bringing up certain things and not bringing up others. This show, this podcast, the whole idea of this is to bring people together in consciousness, in spirituality, in awakening, in truth. And we can all access the truth ourselves. We just forgot that we could. We have to remember what the truth is and resonate with that on the deepest levels. If you are being shown something or told something that isn't resonating, it's not true. Or it's true and it's rubbing up against something that you need to see about yourself that's uncomfortable. And we can start by identifying what is not aligned in our own bodies, in our own minds. There are ways to do this. There is spiritual technology now on the planet that you can actually trust. Yeah, there's lots of scams and scammers and charlatans and everything, not just in spirituality, in every arena on the planet. From car mechanics to anything. Plumbers to actors to directors to anyone can choose to use their divine life path incorrectly. We have free will on this planet. We all have a divine mission, a divine life path. And if we can become clear enough to get the divine whispers from our helpers, our guides, our angels, our teachers, that are literally here to help us, if we can become clear enough to hear them, you can take these steps along your own divine path and become more aligned. And maybe while you're doing that, more things will come to the surface of your being. well, they clear out, which is exactly what's happening right now on this planet. Everything's coming to the surface because we are being cleared out, cleaned out. How do we become cleaned out? Pretty obvious things. We don't put things inside us that contaminate us. We don't watch things or give our attention to things that contaminate us. We don't associate with foods or drinks or people or content that negatively influences us or opens up pathways to negative thought forms or demons or lower levels of consciousness that get inside you and help to make you make wrong decisions. I don't talk about not drinking copious amounts of alcohol and not doing drugs and not doing plant medicine for no reason. I'm not some born-again Christian religious fanatic who just doesn't want to have fun. I advocate being clear because those things I mentioned keep you from being clear, prevent you from being clear. And in some cases, many cases, bring in outside influences that you don't even recognize are in your field, but are influencing you to make less than positive decisions. Now, that's not a big stretch, folks. We all know what alcohol and drugs can do. More and more people are understanding what plant medicine can open you up to. It can open you up to amazing, beautiful experiences, but it's like having your door open to your home in New York City. You could have some awesome, high vibration, positive people wander into your house, and you could have some low vibration, negative entity demons wander into your house. That's all. That's it. I have no criticism on people who choose to do this, but be informed. Be informed. So staying clear. You can do these things to stay clear. And why stay clear? So that you get the guidance. So that you reconnect yourself with your divine higher self, your soul, which is there, has always been there, and is just waiting for you. Just waiting for you to connect. So are your angels, so are your guides, so are your guardians. So are your soul family. So if many of us are not even from this planet, what do I mean by that? Many of us are not even, haven't even spent hundreds and thousands or millions of lifetimes here on Earth. Many of us are from different places. And those beings from our home places, our home planets, or whatever, are also here to help us. Can you hear them when you have all this other noise and negativity blurring your consciousness, whether through the use of substances or through the use of shitty content and media that is created to distract you from what's important, created to distract you from yourself, created to distract you from remembering your soul and connecting with your guidance. And if you don't want to connect to anything that's not you, connect to your own high self. You have all the answers on that level. On this level, we're 3D, we're human. I'm human, you're human, we're human on this level, but we have higher selves that know we can connect to everything. But you can't do that if you're not clear. And a lot of people are taking things because they think it makes them more clear. I think this ecstasy helps connect me to God. I think this ayahuasca helps to connect me to God. You know what? Maybe there's some truth in that. But what if you could do it without anything else? And I'm here to tell you that you can. Of course you can. You came into this life with everything that you need. Why else would it be set up like that? Did a butterfly come into this life and break out of the cocoon just to go and gnaw on a certain type of plant so it could get all the answers for what it needs to do in its life? Or a baby lion cub? Do they need to go find a specific type of whatever to get the information that they need to fulfill their life's purpose? No, they came in with everything that they need, just like we did. People see this stuff as helping them, but you have everything that you need. And nobody's here telling you that. Notice the stuff that's coming to the surface, whether it's in your own body, in your own life, your own home, your environment. What's coming to the surface for you? What's coming to surface in your work, in your life, in your relationships? How do you need to realign? What do you need to let go of? How can you become clear so that you can follow the guidance that is right there, waiting for you to listen? And then expand your awareness and look around the earth and see what is coming to the surface. What is coming to the surface? We need to clear out all the crap, all the negativity, all the fear, all the lies, all the negative choices, all the wrong choices, all the selfish choices. It all needs to come up before we can start to even hope and imagine that we could be like these other worlds where bliss is the normal state, where health is the normal state, where peace is the normal state. You know, and I find myself wondering, personally, I know that I've been to other worlds because I have memories of that. But I'm curious because I can't remember, right? This veil around this planet and my current lifetime veils me from the answer to this question, which is, if there are those planets, and if I've ever been on one, then what does their life look like? What are their challenges? If bliss is your primary state, if peace is your primary state, then what does life on those planets look like? I think it's so unimaginable to think about that through the lens of this planet that we're on right now. It's incredible. What are they doing all day? But I imagine it's beautiful and closer to source. And it's probably really fun. I mean, if they're at the level of consciousness where they're telepathic, teleportation, can travel to other worlds, don't have to worry about war, don't have to worry about illness. Can you imagine if illness wasn't a thing? If getting sick wasn't even a thing, if that wasn't a thing that could happen on a planet because you'd advance so much, either technologically or spiritually, I personally think it's probably both of those things, that you don't have disease. You don't have dis-ease, right? I mean, what would that even be like? I feel like I've experienced that. I don't know if it's been in a physical body, if it's been on another planet, or if it's just the moment when my soul was spawned from the all that is, just like yours was, because we all come from the same place. We all got to feel that at some point. And this process right now is trying to get us back there. And for better or worse, I think it's going to be a long process. I don't know. But I imagine that stuff like this, changing consciousness on the planet, takes time. It probably takes a long time. So let's start now. What's coming to the surface for you? And how can you align it? And when you do align it, when you align yourself, don't underestimate the ripple effect that you have on everyone and everything around you. I'm going to leave it there for today. No bonus content for this episode. I think I've given all of us enough to think about. If you feel like becoming an angel donor to the podcast, if you do so in the month of May, I have a special gift for you that I will send you in June. Thank you all for listening. Stay positive, stay safe, and stay meta.
The Let's Get Metaphysical podcast is an Up, Up, and Awaken production and is produced and hosted by Renata Maniaci. Our intention is to raise the vibration of the planet by sharing, validating, and normalizing spiritual and metaphysical experiences. If you are ready to raise your vibration, you might enjoy our free Let's Get Meta Master Clearing. To receive the Master Clearing or to learn more about the podcast, visit letsgetmeta.com. We like to share metaphysical stories and answer spiritual questions on the podcast. If you have a metaphysical experience you would like to share or have a spiritual question you would like to have answered, please send an email to info@letsgetmeta.com. The Let's Get Meta podcast is inspired by angels and supported by angels. If you would like to be an angel donor to the podcast, visit patreon.com/letsgetmeta. Thank you for listening. Stay meta.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.